What is up, guys? We're we're going to be doing our weekly outlook here. So here we have the dollar on the daily time frame. So if we measure this bullish trend here, right? This is where we came from. We shifted structure down here. Last week we were calling for sell side delivery. So we can see here we've continued to tap into this breaker. We have this low, high, lower low. We've shifted above, and we've still been respecting just about 50% of this bullish breaker on the daily and this daily fair value gap. We dropped down to the 4-hour. Last week, I was anticipating this low resistance liquidity run on last week's weekly outlook. If you go back and watch it from last week, you can see we were calling this a sell side. Wanted to see how we reacted in here. And as you can see, we kind of bounced from this level inside of this bullish 4-hour in here, this bullish gap, rejected and left behind some sell side liquidity midweek last week that we came back after we hit this 4-hour above. We took out buy side, right, that I was anticipating. And then we came back for the sell side during the week into this 4-hour where we kind of retraced again. So I'm looking for us to possibly still continue. What was I looking at? I think for us to possibly come and take some internal liquidity. Right, so we have a nice swing high in here, and swing highs in here. So we could potentially come back up for this high, but some small internal targets. We have the weekly open. We've been pretty bearish, but we left some relatively equal lows in here in this area where we just kind of haven't traded through these wicks in here. So this giant wick on the 4-hour is a form of a gap liquidity. So with all the red folder news coming up this week, we could see the dollar either dump off or come and take this internal liquidity. But we'll see how we react off of this breaker. If we get below it, we have this sell side and this sell side still as an objective in here now that we've taken this sell side and all of this internal liquidity here. Okay. Coming down to the 1-hour, we can kind of see on Thursday we made the high of the day or of the week. I'm sorry, high of the week on Thursday, and then it was off to the races, bearish for the rest of the week. So some internal liquidity as a pullback in here or in here to then maybe possibly continue lower. So 4-hour and 1-hour structure is still pretty bearish. So, but we're at a weekly open and a monthly open. So kind of just want to let it give you some more information. We're also coming in to a lot of volatility the next couple weeks, right? So we want to get our trading done by Wednesday. Stay out Thursday, and then Friday wait for after this 8:30 news. So that's kind of the plan this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get your trading in. Wait 30 minutes after these news events. Give it 30 minutes, right? Let it manipulate, do what it's saying, and then spot your setups. Be very patient and diligent this week. Don't be impulsive. Let's get into ES. We'll go to the daily. Okay. So kind of the same thing in here. We tapped into this bullish gap around -1 to 1.5 standard deviations since we've been bullish in April, right? We shifted, we had this pullback, but then we continued to shift bullishly here, creating the new all-time highs, right? So when we had that market structure shift, this is negative 1 to 1.5 standard deviations. Created that bullish gap in there. Another one in here where we then traded up to negative 2 to 2.5, which is another potential reversal area. So reaccumulating back into this. And so I see this in here as liquidity, right? So coming back up to take this wick's high or trade into this wick, right? Definitely this doji candle. We have this little swing high in here. Okay. We have this little swing high in here. So I'm anticipating us to continue bullish, which lines up with the bearish narrative on the dollar. So some daily buy side liquidity here. Nice little trend line in there. Not sure if we'll maybe get all the way back up to take this wick out, but we can definitely measure this wick in here and see how we react about 50% of this wick. If we stay on the lower half of it and pretty heavy, we could come back down for this swing low, or take this completely out and head back up to that negative 2 to 2.5. Let's drop it up to the 4 hour. We can kind of see this area. We have this nice 4 hour gap in here and some liquidity resting just above this little swing high in here. We have this breaker, high, low, higher, high, displace lower, respected the breaker, and then back down. So big pullback on Friday because I think we've been so bearish. So lots of liquidity here, low resistance. So you can see here now that we've closed above this 4 hour bearish fair value gap, it's now can be used as an inverse, right? Balanced price range. So the next target, we're looking at this 4 hour to see how we react in here. And we're just following the order flow, right? 4 hour in here. So we could reverse from here, come back to internal liquidity on the 4 hour. So this is our internal sell side liquidity. Then we have buy side above here. If we come back, trade into here, continue bullish into the week towards that daily wick and this 4 hour and some internal buy side here, right? Let's go to AQ daily. Kind of the same story here. Let's see, we'll go here, right? We've shifted bullish here. So using the same ranges here, you can see around negative 2 to 2.5, we used it as reaccumulation and then distribution one more time into negative 3 to 4 area. So this is a high overextended reversal area, which we created new all-time highs here and then started to trade down. But we still have respected this daily bullish fair value gap in here. So if we come down to the 4 hour, we can see we had this failure swing high, left this wick intact, right? Let's go to the daily. Was that this still wick? So we respected that wick. If we measure this wick in here, we can see how it reacted. So almost to the T here, respecting, let's see, 50%, closed just around it, the candle bodies, and then drove lower. Let's look at the 5 day, right? So this wick in here, come down to the 4 hour. see we took out this internal sell side liquidity in here. Kind of tapped into this area cluster, right? We failed to take out this swing low in here, right? So we had SMT last week with the two other indices. So we left this low, sell side liquidity, kind of a cluster in here. So we could be reaccumulating in here to drive back lower eventually. So coming back up for internal liquidity, we would be looking at this 4-hour gap potentially, I think, in here for a return back up, right? We can measure our manipulation leg in here, right? The last swing high before we reversed in here. And you can see -1 to 1.5. We had this pullback in here into this gap and some of this inefficiency in here on this wick. So there, little gap in there, and then continue lower to about -4 standard deviations. And we were respecting this wick in here. You can kind of see almost 50%, but we respected the upper end of this wick in here. So could reaccumulate in here. If we measure this range, let's see where we shifted in here. So kind of this swing low to this swing low. And we can do OTE. So we're back above 50% here. So we can use this actually. So we shifted market structure here to here. Okay, so we're back up into a premium. So we can kind of see an OTE if it lines up here, right? So 62 into 70. We also have this lower 4-hour gap, right? So more than likely we'll drive higher into these areas in here and see if we get some sort of SMT maybe with ES, as ES drives higher, right? We could get ES to take out this buy side, but NQ failed to take that buy side, respecting these, right? Be weaker, and then we can target back down to this swing low. You can see we've shifted on the 1 hour. We've now closed above this bearish gap in here, right? So this is now can be used as inversion. So some internal liquidity, relative equal highs right in there, right? Which lines up with the direction to come into this 4-hour. And we'd be looking at this swing high in here. For it to potentially wick and then come back, and we can look at this as internal sell side liquidity. All right, so buy side back to internal, and then see how we react in here. So if we start to really displace above these highs, then you can look at this. Once we get above this high, if we don't respect this 4-hour, then this whole run, the rest of this run up in here is low resistance liquidity, and we could see us come and take out the all-time high back up towards 19,000, the 19,000 level. So that is a possibility. And so if we project off let's look at a 30-minute on this swing low in here. So it's a pretty big manipulation leg lower if we use our standard deviations. So even just one standard deviation from this manipulation leg down gives us about 19 100. So there is a potential with all the volatility coming in that we could come out up here and take out this high again. So it'll all depend on how we react around these 4-hour fair value gaps, and if the market structure continues this bullish trend, or if this is a pullback in the higher time frame market maker sell model, right? We can look at this whole area kind of in here as an original consolidation area, and then it potentially, this is the buy side of the curve, and then we have the sell side of the curve in here. We failed to take out these lows in here and that swing low, so we'll see if we reaccumulate in here, come back up, and then displace lower into the week, or save it for next week, and see how we react around this 4-hour, and see if we come up. We have this low resistance liquidity to run on the higher end of this sell side delivery. Okay, so if we look at YM, kind of just been bearish as well. Let's look at the 4-hour. So could be coming up into definitely these highs in here and here as buy side liquidity, which lines up with our bias to come up into these 4-hour area. So we'll see how we react in here, this 4-hour, and in this 4-hour. Okay. So on this little price action, we have kind of an original consolidation in here down to these areas. So this could be coming up to take out this liquidity as the original consolidation in a market maker buy model, right? Buy back up and then continue, create some sort of consolidation and then back down. Okay. So that being said, I'll see you guys Tuesday in the live stream, and I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. Trade safe. I'm going to stay out Monday and do majority of Tuesday, Wednesday trading. Okay. Till next time, guys.